The chassis has been created and the steering is now sorted. Now I can start to build the bodywork on my extraterrestrial all-terrain vehicle. Greetings fellow Earthlings and welcome back to Darlingbrough Sci-Fi Builds, and Happy New Year to all of my viewers. Over the Christmas and New Year break, I took the opportunity to play around with some ideas I had for my extraterrestrial all-terrain vehicle, or ET-ATV. I first put together a rough bumper out of some coffee stirrers and some super glue. I really liked the shape, but I'll be honest, it wasn't quite right for my model, which is probably a good thing, as my 5-year-old son Nathan decided that it was absolutely perfect for a model that he wanted to build with me over Christmas. Ah, bless. Once we had finished with his model, I put together a simple jig using some scrap pieces of wood and used this to start combining coffee stirrers together. Using CA glue, or super glue as it's more commonly known, I stuck the stirrers together lengthways, using the jig to keep everything aligned. When I had enough of the doubled up stirrers, I then returned to the jig to create angle pieces similar to the prototype I had first built. The reason I used the jig was to make sure that everything was aligned correctly, and these were a lot more accurate than my initial prototype. I trimmed these down with a sharp craft knife, and these pieces became the front bumper of the vehicle. The next step was to create some angular cross braces out of some more coffee stirrers and some different sized craft sticks, lollipop sticks to you and me. I chose these materials as I had them in abundance and wasn't really worried about running out of them. I then glued the cross braces to the angular front bumper pieces, making sure to keep everything aligned and straight before attaching both of the angular pieces together to form the front bumper. I then attached a final coffee stirrer to the front of the bumper to finish it off. Off camera, I trimmed down more angular pieces and added sides to the bumper, along with some additional support structures as well. I must admit I was really happy with the overall shape of the bumper at this stage and looked forward to attaching it to the vehicle. When it came to attaching the front bumper to the vehicle, however, my initial thought was to affix it in place permanently. I started to build some support structures to attach the bumper onto and glue these into place. However, after some careful consideration, I changed my design and attached the support structures to the actual bumper itself. On the chassis, I replaced the support structures for a guiding bar instead. The reason for these changes was to allow me to slide the front bumper into place and remove it again if needed. I thought that this would be a handy feature when it came to adding details and painting the model later on in the process. Now, some of my eagle-eyed viewers may have realised that I actually posted some sneak preview pictures at this stage onto YouTube, and I want to give a big shout out to Toothpick Miniatures, who actually commented and asked, do you think the glue will be enough to hold that corner, or do you plan a reinforcing beam or any other mechanical way to hold it together other than glue? Now, thank you very much, Toothpick. I really appreciated you reaching out and asking me that question, and it's a very good question. As you can see, I have reinforced the living hell out of this piece. I have used copious amounts of super glue and made it absolutely solid as a rock. So Toothpick, I hope that puts your mind at ease, and thank you once again for your comments. Now obviously, if anyone else has any comments or questions or suggestions, then please reach out, leave me a comment down below. I'm always really happy to receive feedback, and generally 9 times out of 10 I will respond personally within a few hours, or even mention it in a future video as well. Once I was happy with the overall bumper design and construction, I then continued to expand the design and create the front windshield of the vehicle. Again, I stuck to a very angular design, as I felt that this was the kind of aesthetic that I wanted for this heavy-duty rugged vehicle. With Toothpick's comment in my mind, I probably ended up over-engineering the piece by reinforcing pretty much every beam I added to the structure along the way. Whilst taking a short break from the construction of this vehicle, I was sat on YouTube when I discovered the channel of Randall Cooper. As I was watching some of the videos on his channel, I must admit I was in absolute awe. This guy's model making skills really are next level. He's worked in TV and film, and some of his models are absolutely breathtaking. Now we'll put a link down in the description down below, so obviously you can check it out. One of the videos that caught my eye in particular was one in which he gave a model that he'd built over 40 years ago, a facelift. I'll be honest, I thought the detail was absolutely breathtaking. But the thing that really caught my eye was the fact that he actually created depth to his model by creating windows and viewports to allow you to view inside the model as well as the outside. I was absolutely blown away, and inspired by Randall's video, I decided that rather than just blocking up the windows, I wanted to try and create an interior cockpit to the model that I was building as well. I designed the interior so that it would slip into place into the front bumper and windshield and would be visible through gaps I'd decided to leave and turn into windows. Whilst working on the interior cockpit, I also focused on creating some side skirts to the model as well. Using some support tabs I attached to the side of the chassis, I glued angled pieces to the bottom of the vehicle. And flat pieces on top of that as well, tapering them to the rear. Once the side skirts had set, I continued to build the frame of the vehicle using more coffee stirrers, lollipop sticks and questionable amounts of super glue to make sure everything was solid and rigid. By this point I had managed to find half a can of super glue activator, which considerably sped up the construction process. At this stage I was happy to see the vehicle taking shape, and the removable cockpit idea I'd conceived worked almost as if I'd planned it. Now it would be interesting to know, if you're scratch building a model, do you sit and plan it all ahead, or do you just get the bits and just start sticking things together and hope for the best? It'd be really interesting to know your process. Let me know in the comments down below, and also if you have any questions or other feedback about this build, then please leave me a comment as well. I then took some time off camera and concentrated on building some more elements to the vehicle, including a rear wall. I wanted to include another window in the piece, as this would add extra interest to the vehicle, so I designed it so that we could look through it as well. I also built a roof for the cab. I deliberately left space, as I am planning on using this area to possibly hold some LED lights, batteries and maybe some electronics as well. I built an airlock door, which will be attached to the side of the vehicle and allow crew to access the cockpit, which will include details and lighting. For the floor and back wall, I added some extra supports to hold it in place on the front of the vehicle, and for the windscreen, I thoroughly reinforced the structure. Seriously, I think this thing is going to be pretty much indestructible by the time I'm finished with it. I also added a frame to all of the cockpit windows to give the illusion of depth. Now there will be clear glass fitted to the back of this before the model is complete. I must admit I am really happy with how the vehicle is coming along so far. I think it looks absolutely great. Not bad considering it's mainly made from coffee stirrers. Speaking of coffee, if you are enjoying the content and the models that I make on this channel and want to help support me to grow, you can always buy me a coffee. If you visit my Buy Me a Coffee page, you can make a small donation that will go towards materials, equipment and tools that I can use to build projects such as this one on the channel. Not only are all donations really appreciated, I also share some behind the scenes photos and updates on the page too. When you're checking out my page, why not consider becoming a member as well? Not only do members get exclusive early access to all of my videos I post on this channel and also my other channel, Darlingbrough Model Railway, members also get discounts on a range of items in my online shop, such as my 65 item 3D printable Greebly pack. Check it out and please help support me continue to grow the channel. I must admit, although the framework for the front of the vehicle is now more or less complete, there is still a lot of work to be done on the model. I need to focus on the trailer and also the interior as well. Once I've finished that, I then have to focus on the exterior panels, all of the details, and that's before I even get to paint the model. However, do not worry, because all of this will be on the channel as I progress. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Check out my other projects that I've worked on, and in the meantime, hasta la vista, I'll be back.